I think we had already, we were mentioning how this is a resistance wire, and if a multimeter was able to measure resistance value, no, resistance is measured in ohms. I think you know that's the SI unit for resistance. So what happens is most of these heating elements are usually about 40 to maybe 20 ohms. The smaller the resistance, the more the heat it generates. All right, because it will allow more current to run through it, and we said power is I squared R. So a small increase in current greatly increases the power because of that squaring effect, as opposed to a small increase in resistance, because we are not powering the resistance. Okay, I think let me put this aside and just bring back this mechanism. So this mechanism, anyway, we've already confirmed that the heating element is fine because it is continuous. It beeps when I touch here end. So I put that aside. Now that leaves us with this. This is the mechanism. First pick them out. This is the mechanism that does the switching. So those two probes, if you look at it, you can see that metal and that metal. So these two pick power from that point and that point, and that point is connected to this terminal. That point is connected to this terminal. Live, neutral, or either way. Live, neutral. L is there, neutral is there, which makes this the earth. This one simply supposed to connect to the body or connect to this to provide earthing, just in case the internal wire touches the body. It shorts down to the ground and protects the person touching it from being electrocuted. Anyway, that is a small detour. Yeah, I wanted to test this because I already tested that and I know this is fine. Put it aside, bring this, and all the way we are just using continuity because we, in fixing an electric kettle, we are just dealing with wires. So all we are trying to do is test whether the wire is continuous from one side to the other side. In other words, we are measuring its resistance. If it gives us a value, it means it is continuous, and that value we comprehend it by hearing a beep. Since it's a very small value, that it will cause the multimeter to beep. That's why we use continuity to test this. So since this ends up here, I need to test whether from this end to this end it's reaching. Okay, and nothing. Let me first switch it on. Nothing. Okay, that means we have a problem on that line, probably. Then we bring this and test from this side. This side is okay, so that means that's our culprit. That's being said, we have to now open that, and where's my screwdriver? Right, and this we open from here. Unfortunately, this is not a screw, so I have to just pry it apart from under here, which is weird. Oh, now you might be asking me what this one does, but this is just a safety bimetallic strip, but the main one is actually here. This piece of metal here is a bimetallic strip. One side is a low expansivity metal, on the other side it's a high expansivity metal. So when this picks steam that comes from it heats up, when it heats up, it stiffens and pushes the switch outwards. This is the on state. When heat comes in here so much, it first hits this first bimetallic strip right here. This will bend inwards and push that away. Basically, that's how the switching mechanism works, the automatic switching mechanism. So it's ingenious. Anyway, that aside, since today we are just repairing, let me come back to where I'm supposed to. I need to pick this out. I don't know why they chose to use a pin instead of using the screw. All right. so it is lifting. Now I need pliers to pull it out. Yes, I think we are getting somewhere. All right, and just like that, that is out. Put it aside, and then this should be able to open. So we want to figure out why this is failing to switch. Now inside is a bit chaotic. This is actually a pin that is operated by the other safety by metallic strip. Worst case scenario pin. Anyway, let me first bring it like this. Alright, so this normally touches there, and this touches there. Now this is the main switch. The switch that you look at from here, this mechanism, okay, I don't know whether you're able to see it. Okay, when you look at this mechanism here, there's that white pin that you're seeing. When it goes down, it pushes against it, and when that comes in, it pushes this away. That means it breaks contact. But when I switch on, it gets, this pin falls back and stops pushing. This pin falls back and stops pushing against this, and therefore this should be down here and pressing against that to complete the circuit. But that's not happening because this melted in place. And look, let me lift this out so that you can see what's under there. That there melted into place and sunk down, so this piece of metal wasn't making contact with that. Remember, this piece of metal was what we saw on the outside, on which the heating element makes contact. So this is what breaks and makes contact to provide the switching on and off. Okay, that means we're going to solve this by, first, let me polish while it's still stuck in, because also we don't want oxides of the metal being in between. Oxides are not conductors, so they prevent electrical contact. So now I'm going to forcefully break this out of this plastic that has melted into. Oh, that melting comes out of heat that is generated when a switch is closed or opened. You know that a spark will always fly when a switch is opened or closed, and therefore that's why the switches, they tend to use heat resistant metals at their tips, usually tungsten. So when you look at this metal, it's different from this copper one because it's supposed to be a high heat resistant piece of metal. Having said that, I need to rip it out of its stuck position. Okay, it's decided to become notorious. Now there are two ways of going about it. Bending the other side, it bends much further down and touches this, but then I think that would be overworking that. I still need to lift this up. And how do I do that? Let me bring my pin and see about that. Actually, I want to get under this to lift it up. Wow, it's melted and really sunk into the other piece of plastic. All right, I hope I haven't overdone myself. Okay, right there. So for purposes of preventing it sinking in down again that far, what I'm going to do is fill underneath with some bit of super glue and sand to keep it there. So let me first pause the video, and then I don't know whether you want to see me filling with super glue. Okay, let me just do that, because perhaps it's the whole process of learning. First get super glue. All right, now I got my super glue and I have lifted that up, so I'm going to apply some there and place in some some sand. Is this the right spark glue? Looks like it is dry. Really? So I think I've gotten the right spark glue. I hope it's the right one. Not again. I hope it is just clogged and spark glue. Okay, apply some there and then bring my sand. Bring some sand, pour there, just to give a base to support that piece of metal and probably reduce its sinking in. Alright, so that seems to be okay. And let's add some more. I also don't want to give it too much of a lift. Alright, I think that should be sufficient. Now I need to bend back this piece of metal. Right, I hope it doesn't complain. Right, please go back. Okay, I think that is good height, but the challenge, it is springing back. I need it to stay down. How do I achieve that? Okay, let me first see if I can push this outwards and bend this further and then push this back down. Alright, okay, like that. Now bend it downwards. Okay, I think it's now level, but I noticed this still bent a little. Let me, alright, then bring this back where I wanted it to be. I think that's right. Now I can push this back down. I think it should be seated. Is it? I think it is. Okay, now the next thing is, since that has happened, that means I may polish this and put it back. I had the file but I don't see it, so I'm going to just scrape using the tip of my screwdriver. Oxides coating the contact points is not encouraged. Okay, but I've noticed I need to put back this spring. At times helps to spring this back if it is stuck, so like that. Now next thing is bring back our, let me also put back this is supposed to be a safety thing. Okay, it comes on the outside. Now this goes in there. Is that the right direction? I like to think so. And then this is the right direction also. Right here, like that. Okay. Now this gray pin actually comes here. This is a protective, or let me call it safety switch. It also operated by biometallic strip. I think this thing fell down, right? Back there, and then we press it into place. So this one actually picks heat from the body, and if you realize the body is becoming red hot, it will click down and push that. It's the last resort, but the main one is this that operates the Paco in normal mode. So let's put that down right there. Now, since this side was the one that wasn't giving us continuity, we are going to test that again. Alright. Now, right now I even don't need to look at the multimeter because I'm interested in that beep sound of continuity. So put this here. But let's not forget pressing this down and getting it in the switched on position. Alright. I get a value, I think, right there. Let's also confirm that the other side is still alright. Okay. Now I can assemble this and expect this kettle to work. So anyway, let me just bring this on the outside to show you the picture. That's a washer that decided to fall. We need it. So anyway, these are the active components. This is where I want to enter electricity. So those, you can see these two here, they enter there and then come to that. And then this is just a seal. Alright, now bring it in like that, then this comes in there like that. So we are going to screw this back. The other screw. There's another screw. My screwdriver. Where did I put it? So first place this in roughly before tightening. Okay. This is induced magnetism that allows the screwdriver to be able to hold onto the screws. Alright. Then that. Now I need to tighten to restore the water tightness, that we don't have a leaking kettle after we have repaired it. But before, look at where the screw was. Before that, we need to confirm that we are actually reading the heating element when we switch on. So I'm going to put here neutral and live terminals, so it's already being read. Off, on. Okay, we have a problem with that thing springing up. It's having trouble. Does it need lubrication? Okay. So anyway, I think you get the idea, and I need the pin there. Okay, it should be able to spring back, but it's having trouble. Do I have to lubricate it? I think I may. Where are we? What if we mixed them? Come back. Yeah, that's a bit of repairs. You keep proof checking your steps. you verify before you finally close up. What made me get that idea is because the other pin looks browner, and when you remember, we had signs of burning and melting, so for it to be brown or blue or grayer, it must be a result of soot going onto the white pin, making it shorter, making it grayer. But I also noticed that this pin looks shorter to move that entire length, therefore that's my suspicion. It belongs here and not here. And the only annoying part is removing this thing. Wonder why they didn't just use a normal screw. This is making my life miserable. Where is my plier? So anyway, it's more like we're just simply retracing our steps. But then again, I believe you need to see this. Okay, so I open, I pick this pin, you can see that it looks browner or darker. I don't know, it's just the feeling I am getting as to why this is not closing. Or it could just be normal friction. Now how do I pick this? Actually it's the right one. When you look, it's longer than this, yet it even appears shorter. So I need to just unblock this melted part, widen it back. Sorry, there's not too much friction between it and our pin. Our pin needs to spring. That said, I'm also going to have to bend this piece a little to give it more springing force, like that. I hope the excessive heating didn't make it lose some of its elasticity, causing it to be more ductile. Alright, we were forgetting to replace our pin. Now I believe our pin should be at liberty to move freely. Where are we? Okay, here we are. Bring this. Okay, and then bring this back. There's our pin there that pushes that hook. Where does it go? Some cleaning. Place. Bring our plastic. I hate these percolators. They have a very complicated mechanism. Too many tiny parts. Okay. And then this. Oh, let's not forget to put our pin, the safety one. And then bring this and bring our rivet or whatever it is called. Push it in. Okay, so we go again through the routine of screwing it back in place, and that's that. Let's first get out of the way. Okay. This washer needs to return. We need that screw back. We need this one back, and then that one. First roughly, then roughly, then roughly. I keep doing them alternately, so they all arrive to the same position at roughly the same time. So now let me tighten tightened. Tighten. Okay. Now we come back and still do that test. If we can read our heating element right there. So right now it's in the off state, on, off state, on, off state, on. So yeah, you can notice that that pin now returns when I push it down and release it, comes back. Before it was getting stuck down. Okay, so that's how it works. Now the next stage is just me closing it up. Let me put this aside. Now the challenge is this guy through all the nuts that are supposed to hold this in place, and I don't know whether I have any. Actually, I don't have any that fits there. I don't have. Let me just check. Peradventure, I may get one. Now this one is really tiny in diameter, and okay, that's it. There's not much I can do for them. Someday perhaps. So what was our rightful steps? Bring this and close this. Yeah, it's unfortunate that I have to do this to them. Alright. So I have to close this up, and in just a second we should be done with this kettle. I don't know why it's bullying me, but alright. Why are you misbehaving? Okay. That's interesting. And then I think it's watertight, but just to be certain, let me tighten this more. Alright. And alright. Just